Hey, want to say good morning to our voice contestant, Bryan Olsen. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. On the radio tour this morning for you, and how does that feel? I mean, you with all the challenges getting on the show and the ups and downs, and now you're doing some of the legwork of this national, international interview stuff.
You know what? Bring it. This is awesome. I mean, it's a wonderful thing to get to talk about, to kind of relive these moments that have happened so far on the show. They've been super incredible and special, and so yeah. I mean, it's a little bit earlier for you. You're 2 hours earlier than right now. So
Yeah, well, for me,
I'm
for
doing.
me,
How are you doing?
well, I do fine because well, actually, I've done this longer than you are have been alive, so I'm used to this kind of the time zone. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about that age thing because I know that it's getting thrown in your face. If by nobody else, by me, you're the old guy in this group of kiddos. How does that feel? Was that intimidating at all to even go out and try?
The only time I thought it was, well, the word intimidating is when I was the drummer in my band. He forwarded me an email with about casting, and I told him, I said, I really don't want to go to some arena with a bunch of teenagers waiting 14 hours for my chance to audition for this show. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna do that. And he's like, well, you can do it online now. And so that if they didn't have that in place, I probably would have been, maybe a little too scared to just go jump in with all the youngsters for an entire day waiting to audition. But that's kind of how it went down, and it just kept escalating from there until I got the invite to come out to LA.
And let me ask you this. I mean, your life took a turn. You had been married for a couple of decades, and then that marriage ended. And is that when you got back into music, or is that really when you picked up the music world?
Well, I don't. Music never really left. That season when of struggle, like definitely a drought. Like I wasn't into performing at the moment, or writing. It just takes a bit to kind of regather yourself, and but then ultimately songs come from that. There's a lot of good that can come from pain as you process it. But yeah, music has always been there at different degrees. But to have this chance in the voice now, I guess I never even thought about how amazing it could be to open whatever I do up to a few more people, a new audience, and that's been kind of eerie but wonderful at the same time.
Over the years, you've had the opportunity to play, perform, and use some good for that around the world. You were also a cruise ship performer and so forth. But what goes through your mind when you step on the voice stage, knowing that you've got millions of people watching at that moment?
Well, I typically don't get nervous on stage, but the way the voice is set up, especially the blind audition, is probably the most nervous I've been, because everything is opposite. You've got an audience there, but you walk out and they're instructed to be completely silent. So you're walking past all these people, and all I can hear is my boots clicking as I'm getting to the microphone, and you see those chairs with the superstars' names on them, and you just running through your mind that I've been preparing for a few months for this, and now I've got 90 seconds you know, to hopefully win one of those coaches over. So it definitely sets up an intense moment, and that's what it was.
So let me talk about the roller coaster of emotions, and we've talked to previous contestants over the years about this. But you were involved in one of the newer elements of the show, and that's that the pass. What's the name of that pass again?
Oh, we'll never forget it. I will never forget it. It's called
The
the playoff pass.
playoff
A
pass.
beautiful thing.
So at this point, talking about the roller coaster of emotion, you were up against what Nathan Chester and John Legend chose Nathan, and you thought you were out, and then all of a sudden, boom.
Exactly. It's exactly how it went down. Boom. I I was saying my goodbyes. They edit some of that out for time, but I
Mm-hmm.
was just kind of reminiscing how great the blind audition was, and I'm walking down the stairs from the stage, and you can't hear that beautiful sound that you hear when you see on TV when they hit the button. That's more done in post production. So I couldn't quite tell what was going on, but the crowd was kind of getting wild, and then I realized the big word "steal" was on the board. I'm like, "Ooh, I think I'm still in this thing." So I jump back up on stage. And now I'm trying to process in my head which team I want to go on. And before you know it, John hit the playoff pass button, and I just it that was just such a wonderful moment that he honored me with his one playoff pass.
Well, that's got to be just self assuring, I guess, on there. So now here you go. We've got yourself into this. Anything that you have learned so far that is going to alter and change a little bit of your style, your performance, or anything else that you're going to do that we're going to see?
It's definitely challenging. I spend most of my time doing original music, and so when you're singing other people's songs, I want to do it in a way that at least I shine through. I can mimic really well. If you want me to sing a Elvis song, I can sound like Elvis for a moment, and you don't want to do that on a show like this. You're trying to find your voice while you're taking on these monumental songs, and so it's a stretch, and I love the opportunity to be challenged to. We didn't get to pick that Adele song, and I remember at first hearing that we were going to sing that, and we were both kind of terrified. But then as we leaned into it, I think we accomplished something special, and I'm just looking forward to more of that.
Well, let me ask you this: if I recall, don't you have a daughter also?
Yes, sir.
And
Is she? Yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead. Finish what you started to say.
Well, she got to be my special guest. You can have two guests on the show. I have three kids, and my two boys, they're really not interested at all in being in front of a camera. And not that my daughter was either, but I just thought it would it would be a good fit for her since she's a singer. She sings in an '80s cover band right now. And that moment, the way it turned out, where she came up and got to sing, was just so incredible. And it actually went down. The unedited version is when I handed her the mic to sing. Nobody in the room, including the band, didn't know what was about to happen, and she starts singing the song. And by the time she gets to the chorus, the band is just so good. They just figured out what she was doing in the right key and come in playing along with her. So that was an incredible moment. I was so proud of her.
Well, that's awesome. Okay, one last question, and then we will talk again when you win this whole thing. The question is,
I,
the question is,
I like where your head is at. I like
there,
where your head is at.
there you go. The question is, as you do this whole journey so far, is there one thing that you have told yourself, I am going to remember this particular moment or event or action or interaction, no matter what else happens? Is there one particular thing so far that you've put in the memory bank?
Well, definitely the moment with my daughter. What you don't understand is I for me that was the most nervous I've ever been, and I know that there were other contestants that when we were rehearsing without anybody in the room, they were so nervous that they would be given a mic stand because they're shaking. And my daughter comes up there and embraces that moment with all these superstars looking at her and everybody in the room, and we were just so giddy. Like after that, we went out to dinner, and I just remember honestly laying down in my hotel room on the floor, just crying, thanking God for one of the best days of my life. And after going through the difficult season, being in the valley, to have I just didn't think those high of moments would ever come back in my life. So definitely, I'll never forget that day.
Brian, you're an inspiration. Glad to hear that things are going the right direction for you, and gives people an inspiration waking up this morning that maybe yesterday wasn't too good, but today could be the day. And like I said, we'll talk again after you win this. All right.
Thank you, brother.
All
You
right.
have a great day.
You too. Take care. Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye.